Oh no, oh no, oh no. Yo, 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 oh no, you didn't. Sucker tried to blame me, but you never paid me, never. Oh no, you didn't. Payback is a coming, you will be running forever. Oh no, you didn't. Until I get my vengeance, I will never end this mayhem. Oh no, you didn't. I'm a mercenary, you ain't got a prayer, you owe me. Oh no, you didn't. 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 Didn't you? Oh no, you didn't pay me what you owe me. So now it's over for you. Check it out. Oh no, you didn't. First you try to trap me, then you bust a cap in my ass. Oh no, you didn't. Such humiliation will bring annihilation at last. Oh no, you didn't. It will be delicious when I get vicious tomorrow. Oh no, you didn't. There's no second chances, you will do the dance of sorrow. Oh no, you didn't. 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 Didn't you? Oh no, you didn't pay me what you owe me. So now it's over for you. What a fool. Alright, come on. Oh no, you didn't.
Better watch your back, boy, keep running. This ain't just a game, I'll never stop coming. I got my arsenal, I put out the call. And when I'm finished, y'all, you'll be a rag doll.
Fool, try to diss me, now you're gonna wish you were dead. Oh no, you didn't. After I deliver, your blood will be a river of red. Oh no, you didn't. Better beware when no one's there to defend you. Oh no, you didn't. So many ways to kill, it's gonna be a thrill to end you. Oh no, you didn't. 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 Didn't you? Oh no, you didn't pay me what you owe me. So now it's over for you. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, you didn't.
Hello everybody and welcome to Immortal AfrOMEGA live stream. Pretty interesting things going on here today. No good news, unfortunately. But, you know, just hope for the best. And hopefully things won't turn out in the worst possible way. There's no way of saying. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. But I have a few tabs up here to kind of go over a few of the things that are happening, and it's pretty bad. But the point of this live stream is to kind of discuss some of the things that are going on and see if we can learn about it as we go on, and just kind of comment on it, give my my take, because I'm gonna go ahead and say it out. Say it out first and foremost. There's a lot of things I don't understand or know about the relationships between the United States and Ukraine. I'm a little caught up when it comes to Russia, that we weren't the best of pals, but this obviously is a not the best move. One moment. Make sure my chat's working. Doesn't look like it is, but just in case it isn't. Bada bang. Best pre-stream song ever. Appreciate it, Young Sykes. I like it a lot myself. I have to figure out why the chat's not working, but I'll figure that out before next stream. I decided to go ahead and adopt my my gaming stream setup and bring it on over. Make things a little bit easier. But yeah. So yeah, let's discuss what's going on right now. As far as we know, according to Boop, according to information we have gathered that is relevant to the topic, we have. I don't like using Twitter, but that's what we got right now. Okay. A few of the things these guys are covering, they gave us a Cliff Notes version. Make sure you guys can hear me all right. Ukraine calls general mobilization. Zelensky, Russia. According to Zelensky, Russians have entered Kyiv. I think that's the name of the city. Bombardment of that said city is imminent. People are sheltering in train stations. Over 30 Rude tanks have been destroyed by the Russians. 137 Ukrainians have perished due to the invasion. Over 100,000 displaced. There are protests in Russia, which Russia is, kind of keeping a lid on it by having those protesters silenced. Kind of familiar there, Canada, But and sanctions. According to that, we've imposed sanctions. There are sanctions imposed from America, pretty much Western countries. And we're going to look here, see what our good Commander-in-Chief Biden has to say.
By any means necessary. By bullying.
Start from the beginning.
Putin is the aggressor. Putin chose this war. And now he and his country will bear the consequences. This was never about a genuine security concerns on their part. It was always about naked aggression, about Putin's desire for empire by any means necessary, by bullying Russia's neighbors through coercion and corruption, by changing borders by force, and ultimately by choosing a war without a cause. Putin's actions betray his sinister vision for the future of our world, one where nations take what they want by force. But it is a vision that the United States and freedom-loving nations everywhere will oppose with every tool of our considerable power. When the history of this era is written, Putin's choice to make a totally unjustifiable war on Ukraine will have left Russia weaker and the rest of the world stronger. Liberty, democracy, human dignity, these are the forces far more powerful than fear and oppression. They cannot be extinguished by tyrants like Putin and his armies. They cannot be erased by from people's hearts and hopes by any amount of violence and intimidation. They endure. In the contest between democracy and autocracy, between sovereignty and subjugation, make no mistake, freedom will prevail.
Okay, so a couple of things with that I kind of take umbrage with, because this is the same president we had in power when Afghanistan was pretty much handed over to the Taliban, if I'm not mistaken. Terrorist organizations that, as far as I know, as of right now, still pretty much have the entire country of Afghanistan within their control. And the biggest criticism when it comes to Biden's administration is that we pretty much gave it to him. We left the worst possible way, left billions of dollars of taxpayer, purchased equipment, weapons over there. And so it's only a matter of time before that turns into like a big ordeal, because once they figure out how to use all that stuff, you bet your ass that they're going to use it to, again, further their aggression throughout not just Afghanistan but surrounding areas. To what degree, I don't know. Haven't really heard much on it. That news cycle kind of wrapped up quickly, and a bad stain on the Biden administration's legacy. Now, when it comes to Putin, I have a few assumptions and guesstimations and concerns, because Russia is one of the big three: America, Russia, China. The biggest problem I have with this move is that I'm kind of convinced that because of the gaffe that is Afghanistan, that that kind of radiated a level of confidence to our but a lot of our not necessarily allies, but contenders like Russia. Because if I was Vladimir Putin and I saw the way America handled Afghanistan, there's no way I wouldn't try to invade the next country I wanted. Because as far as I don't know all the details between Russia and Ukraine. All I know for sure is that there's been some tension there. That Russia's been wanting to annex Ukraine for a while. Not sure how I guess the peace war for that has been managed up until this point. But of course, I'm not 100% confident in this take, but I'm confident enough to want to say it. Is that because of Biden's weakness, I feel as though that has empowered Putin to make the move he's making now, and not feeling really any cause for ramification because of how the Afghanistan ordeal was handled. We didn't handle that in any kind of positive way, and as a result, Afghanistan is now under the control of the Taliban or whatever the terrorist organization is, and now Putin is looking to do the same to assimilate the Ukraine. And like I said, it's not good. Of course, there are a few different takes that I've kind of gathered from this. I've talked to a few of my colleagues, coworkers, and some friends. And hold on one second. Bam. Thank you. And there's a few different takes. Of course, on the more conservative side, my side, the way I look at this is like, poor leadership in regards to the Biden administration. Their constant gaffes over the course of this presidential term has emboldened our enemies to do things like this. Russia want to take Ukraine. And of course, the next thing, the next logical step that follows that most of us that are considering maybe plausible to happen, whether it be tomorrow, next couple of weeks, or next few months, is Taiwan and China. Because China has been eyeballing Taiwan for a while now. Once again, I'm not sure of the full disclosure between the relationship between America and Taiwan as far as us not allowing that to happen. The problem is it doesn't amount to much now because of the way that the Biden administration is choosing to handle issues up to this point. Because I think it is a fair assessment to say that under the Trump administration that this probably wouldn't have happened. I don't want to say 100% wouldn't have happened, but it seems that there was a lot more in the way of what's the best way to put it? Respect between the superpowers when Trump was in office. Because now we have throughout the entire Trump administration, whether you liked it or not, the threat of war was very, it wasn't really there outside of, the legacy media constantly trying to promote it, saying it was happening, saying that Trump was a puppet for Biden. And a lot of the reasons why many of us, myself included, voted for Trump is because when it came to Hillary, we didn't trust her. She seemed to have a lot of ties with not Ukraine, but Russia, in the form of selling, I forgot what substance it is, but, like nuclear substance. I can't think of the name. But selling that to Russia. Not sure what the details of that deal was, but it's things like that, along with a multitude of other things, is what persuaded many, myself included, to not vote for Hillary. Because it seems like the Democrats have completely changed their tune in terms of like being anti-war. One thing I noticed over the course of the past 30 years, my entire lifetime, I was under the assumption that the Democrats were anti-war. But now, since the Democrat Party, is, as far as I'm concerned, has been completely psyoped or taken over by extreme communism, they seem to be in favor for it. Now, there's a lot you could say about the potential of like, oh, well, maybe they were infiltrated by Russia or China, which probably both are likely true. But the type of communism that's being promulgated in America is no different. And many kind of reference that as being, somewhat responsible for the fall of the Russian Empire at the, during the height of not the height of the war, but, Russia's collapse. And now, with so much time as passing, Vladimir no doubtably has, taken advantage of all this time to prepare what he can and wait for the perfect opportunity to make his next move, his next big victory grab, which is securing Ukraine. And how the Allied forces are going to respond to that is kind of what we're going to be discussing. Because right now, a lot of stuff is up in the air. A lot of people are worried that this is going to be the beginning of World War III and all this good stuff. In my honest opinion, I'm not convinced that this is enough to go to World War III over. I have to do more research into the relationship between Ukraine and America. If we had something there that we promised to take care of, or as far as like protections that we were offering, the Western countries and Ukraine, because as far as it seems like Ukraine was largely independent for the most part. They just had to deal with Russia for whatever reasons back in the day. They wanted to be free and independent, so on and so forth. There's a lot to unpack there. And unfortunately, I have very little confidence that the Biden administration is even capable of doing anything substantial or worthwhile to mitigate further disaster coming in the form of escalation in that area. Because what this is going to create, that I feel, is going to be a case of, more the displacement of many Ukrainians, which is going to create another migrant crisis, because many of the Western countries are going to want to, offer aid and support and help. And depending on how Russia takes that will determine whether this, pushes more escalation or less escalation. Right now, it's too early to tell. This is all happening in real time as we're talking about. But I know now I'm not convinced that Vladimir Putin is threatened in the least in any form by the Biden administration. And many of us kind of saw this coming, which is very upsetting because, since the Biden administration, it's only been 1 year, 1 year under the Biden administration, and we're already at this point, which is so unfortunate, because I remember in Trump's concession speech during the last election, is that he was very clear on, like, don't give up the respect that we've earned through our 4 years of building America up to the point to where it is. Of course, when I heard that, I was like, good luck with that. Biden's going to piss it away pretty quickly. I just wasn't, I didn't think it'd be this quick, because I was assuming, like, okay, we got the midterms coming up. Hopefully we can pull some influence back there. But it's very unfortunate, because the biggest thing when it comes to politics, in my opinion, is maintaining the influence that you have gained over the course of so many years. And I'm not going to lie, I am very biased against the Democrats, because they have done nothing but degrade America's influence over the years, whether it be in poor form with Afghanistan and all this stuff going on with the coronavirus, because again, timing couldn't be more perfect. Now that the coronavirus is winding down and there's not really nothing to go crazy about, haha, surprise Russia attack, and not really surprised. But like I said, like after the Afghanistan ordeal, I was like, well, if I was Vladimir Putin, I would probably make the next move, because I am not at all threatened by this current administration. What are they gonna do? Stop me? They let a bunch of terrorists in Afghanistan take over the whole entire country overnight, and I'm Russia. Like, these guys, the Taliban is peanuts compared to me. I'm Vladimir motherfucking Putin. I take what I want. And if the Biden administration is as spineless as everyone is convinced that it is, I ain't gonna do shit. I'm gonna walk right into Ukraine, take it, and it'll be done in a week, maybe even less than that. And of course, this goes to the my criticism of the military, because there are Russian troops parachuting into Ukraine, making TikTok videos of like, oh yeah, this shit's in the bag, we got this. And that level of confidence can only be acquired through complete and utter, just confidence in their ability to just take over some shit. something that the American military has been losing over the course of the last 6 years because of the rampant intersectionality, communism, or communist influence in Western society. And it's getting pretty bad, because you know what they say, you can vote your way into communism, but it's very difficult to, you know, get out, because at that point it's not up to a vote. You pretty much given up all that, and the entirety of COVID proves that. So, and that's another thing when it comes up to the midterms. You notice a lot of Democrats are flipping their positions on what to do when it comes to COVID. You know, they're all about like lifting some of the mandates just in time for the primaries, or not primaries, the midterms. And it's very telling. But the unfortunate part about that is that we have to, know, regardless of how much we talk about it, so many people are stuck believing that this is the right thing to do. And that's unfortunately where Democrats shine and Republicans falter. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not really pro-Republican. That's why I normally consider myself conservative. The problem I have with Republicans in many aspects is that I just don't trust them, because Trump ruined this for a lot of politicians for me. Let me just go ahead and put that out there, because the fact that a guy who has been doing nothing but being a TV show personality and, you know, the complete opposite of a politician by any means, to get in and get as much done within the scope of 4 years is very telling about politicians in general. Because I've talked to a few of my friends about Ron DeSantis, and, you know, he seems like, you know, assuming that Trump doesn't run, which we're pretty sure he is, but assuming that, you know, let's just go with he doesn't run. Assuming he doesn't run, Ron DeSantis is likely going to be the guy, right? The problem I have is that he's a politician, and Trump is not a politician. You know, Trump had way more to lose going into it. And I know people can, you know, they can guesstimate on what it is, his reasonings or whatever, but that's primarily why I respect the guy so much. Because it's because of this guy, who technically wasn't even really a Republican to begin with, got into politics and got so much done just as a shit talker than any politician before. And of course, his step into politics is what brought a lot of people, myself included, into politics to kind of pay attention to what's going on. And since I've been paying attention to what's going on, it's really unfortunate to see just how far we've allowed America to degenerate. Like, we're at a point where it's very difficult to kind of bounce back from this, because so many people are afraid of saying what they want to say, speaking out. You have the issue of big tech and the influence it has over pretty much the majority of all of our communication avenues, the censorship of conservative views, all of these things going on. And then on top of that, we have Vladimir Putin doing this thing in Ukraine, which is, it's pretty bad. It's not looking pretty good. But of course, I'm still a little optimistic. It may be because of my ignorance of like everything that's going on, but it doesn't change the fact that I'm not convinced that this is, this happened, therefore war. I'm not quite there yet. I think a few more things have to occur. To the speed of which it'll happen, I don't know. But I have another video queued up here I want to kind of look at. Not that one. This video is called What's Happening in Ukraine, Russia's Invasion Explained. So we're going to take a look at this and see what we can gather from it as we continue this discussion.
There is no purgatory for war criminals. They go straight to hell, Ambassador.
Russia launched a military attack on Ukraine. Shelling hit major cities and airports across the country. Russian President Putin declared war. Explosions and gunfire were heard throughout Kyiv. Many Ukrainians have been trying to leave the country. Some trickled into Poland, others are taking cover in subways. World leaders condemned the attack, with fresh economic sanctions from the US and Britain.
Okay. here's the thing with sanctions, all right? I get what they're supposed to do. I'm just not convinced they matter. Because prior to this invasion, Putin has made it pretty clear that he doesn't care. he doesn't care. I think there was a few reports saying he's like, oh yeah, we're just flexing. But I'm pretty like, if you understand Putin on any level, you kind of know like he's gonna do it, because he's not a pushover. And it's unfortunate that I have to say that, because Trump wasn't a pushover. And for the 4 years we've had Trump, there was largely peace when it comes to international affairs between foreign powers. There was we pretty much had a peace treaty in the Middle East, something that's never been done before. Pissed away by Joe, thank you. There was the peace, not necessarily a peace treaty, but I guess an understanding between North Korea and America. Trump went there, shook hands with their acting president, Kim Jong-un, I believe. And it's funny because the media coverage up to that point, of course, was always demonizing Trump no matter what he did. But when you look at it in retrospect to what's happening now, in the first year that we've had Joe Biden and the Biden administration, how much shit can just go just belly up in 1 year. And it's so unfortunate, man, because a lot of people like me who voted for Trump saw this coming a mile away. It's not really a case of we just didn't know. Like, no, it was the writing was on the wall. And when it comes to like how the Biden administration is handling these things, it gives me concern, because when countries like Russia are flinging around their power this brazenly, it makes me worry about China and Taiwan. Because even though I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not 100% caught up on the full details of the relationship between Ukraine and America, and exactly if we even need to get involved, because this all looks bad. But assuming that we kind of respected their independence, like, hey man, this is your war, not ours. Because we already get a lot of flack, we get a lot of flack for trying to be the world police. And I got to agree to some degree. Because, hey, man, not every war between countries is our fight. However, I understand that there are things in place, and it's why they are the way they are. I've seen a lot of people kind of break down. Like, it was a video, I wish I could find it, but it was of Putin pretty much claiming that America was the aggressors. He's like, look, you guys have us completely surrounded. This is like, it's bullshit. It's not fair, because we're trying to expand and, watch our own backs while you guys got the majority of the globe. And like, I understood what he meant by that. But at this point, you kind of realize that the history books are written by the victor. That's just the way it is. And in that last video we played of Joe Biden talking about like, it's just not the way we do things. Like, it's kind of how we did things, bro. It's kind of how we still do things, bro. And whether you want to acknowledge it or not, that's politics, man. That's war. That's manifest destiny. It is what it is. But I mean to get sidetracked. Let's finish this video up.
U.S. President Joe Biden called the Russian action a, quote, unprovoked and unjustified attack. Western countries are warning of a larger operation to capture all of Ukraine, or at least a move on Kyiv to overthrow the government there. Last year, Putin said Ukraine was becoming anti-Russia, and that Moscow would be ready to react to, quote, threats to its own security.
Okay. Stuff like that, of course, normally I just want to call bullshit on. Because, and of course, I only call that from, understand this is a ignorant point of view. I don't know all the details as to why Putin did what he did. But I think it's important to at least speak on it from some, perspective. Saying that there's a whole thing with anti-Russia rhetoric there. He's just making a preemptive strike to defend his country. But I'm under the assumption that there was always some type of issue going on between Russia and Ukraine, and that Russia has always wanted to annex Ukraine. For the reasons, I'm not sure. I got to do my reading. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just pulling stuff out of my ass, because, like I tell you, there are things I know and there are things I don't know. This is mostly a reaction to what's happening now. But like I said, I was under the impression that they've always wanted to occupy that space, to no means. And it seems like Mr. Vladimir Putin here is acting because he sees an opportunity to do so without much in the way of ramifications. Because the the Biden administration doesn't seem to be all that interested in any level of enforcement. But to give credit to the administration for their lack of effort, I'm not sure what the relationship is between America and Ukraine, and if that's even our responsibility in the first place. Because everyone's going to have the knee-jerk reaction of like, oh, this is wrong, we need to stop them, that's just blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get it, but is it really necessary, though? I know Ukraine is a very resource-rich location, and we import a lot of goods there. But how important is that to America? And if it was important, how much of our resources have we put into securing the protection of that country under the Western powers? That I don't know. But let's continue.
The attack poses questions for what happens next in Europe. The UN is urging countries to give fleeing Ukrainians safe haven. One EU official described the attack as, quote, among the darkest hours of Europe since the Second World War.
And I get it. See, that's where I get a little curious when it comes to the intent behind a lot of Western powers, because unfortunately the truth is that most of the West has been infiltrated by communist influence. And war seems to be something that the left, at least on the America side, is all about, pushing for it. Even you could say the same for the right and Republicans, but it from just from my position, it seems like it's very much more so instigated by the radical left, because it's not getting any better, like it really isn't. But let's see. We're going to look at this Fox News interview. Trump's words he has to say about what's going on in Ukraine. And we'll go from there.
Well, let's get straight to it. Let's bring in the 45th.
In the history, more ambitious. I think Putin really wanted to.
Got the button to do that.
Well, let's get straight to it. Let's bring in the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining Fox and Friends Weekend.
Well, thank you. It's an honor. And we have a lot of problems in this country, but it's an honor to be with you.
Well, we're grateful to have you, sir. Well, let's start with the headline we've had all morning long. What's happening in Russia, what's happening in Ukraine. The White House right now is saying an attack could happen at any time. On your assessment, where are we and how did we get here?
Well, first of all, it's shocking because this should have never happened. It should have never happened. It would not have happened. And how we got here is when they watched Afghanistan and they watched the most incompetent withdrawal in the history of probably any army, let alone just us. They saw that, and President Xi and President Putin, watch what happens with China very soon, but with Taiwan. But they watched that and they said, what's going on? They don't know what they're doing. And all of a sudden, I think they got a lot more ambitious. I think Putin really wanted to negotiate for a period of time. I think when he watched Afghanistan, when he watched that unbelievably bad withdrawal, incompetent, where they took the military out first, where they left $85 billion worth of equipment behind for the Taliban to have and to sell and to use. And, of course, the death that happened. When they watched all of that, I think they got emboldened.
President Trump, Joe Biden is scheduled to be on a call today with Vladimir Putin. What do you think he can say? What should he say? If you were in office today, what would you say to Vladimir Putin?
Well, I wouldn't be in this position because we're in a very bad position right now.
Typical Trump. But I agree with him. I've thought about it. I've talked to a few of my friends about it, and there are some places where we disagree. And some of them say like, yeah, this would have happened regardless. And to me, I feel like on some level that's a bit of a cop out, because it seems like since Biden came into office and a lot of these problems that have manifested in his presence, a lot of people want to kind of dismiss as like, oh, this would have happened anyway. Gas would have went up anyway. Like, well, the Keystone was, that's a lie, because under the Trump administration, the Keystone pipeline was, for the benefit of the American people, so we would get lower gas prices. And we did for a while until Biden took office and ended the Keystone pipeline, making us dependent on foreign oil yet again, which of course allows gas prices to rise even higher. And by the way, if you haven't filled up your tanks, I highly recommend you do it now, because Ukraine was, I believe, an exporter of gas and oil to the United States. And with that shit going south really quickly, it only goes to say that, chances are the gas is going to go up. So, I mean, I know it's already high, but at least your car will be full. I don't know. But, yeah, I often hear that the consensus from many people who, of course, didn't like Trump too much was to assume that this was going to happen anyway. And I ain't buying that. Because the thing is, when Trump was in office, there was a level of respect and confidence that led anytime he made a move or a decision. The biggest one being when he dropped the Moab on an ISIS base, and that goes to show, like, yeah, man, I'm not playing around. I'm not backing down. The same thing with that Soleimani. Can't pronounce his name, but I think he was an Iranian general or military, whoever, that conducted operations that took the lives of many American American soldiers. And Trump was on top of that. He was like, "Yep, one for you too. Bam, you're done. Next." But now with with Biden in office, you don't have that same energy. You don't have that same desire for promoting your confidence and your influence as the biggest superpower on the main stage, on the world stage. And it's because of that so many people are coming to the conclusion that Russia and likely China following not too far after, at first I was guesstimating like within 6 months, but after this, after looking at some of the damage and stuff that's going on, they may be emboldened to do so sooner than I'd like, much sooner. Because if the Biden administration is going to be running around looking flaccid at all times like they've been doing, appointing tranny whoever the hell's into military positions of power, while our military is so hyper focused on irrelevant shit like binary, non-binary, whatever, a representation in the ranks, it ain't looking too good, bruh. It's not looking too good, because meanwhile, while that's going on, this is kind of a side thing, but China has gone out of their way to ensure that they hyper focus on masculinity when it comes to their society as a whole. But unfortunately, over here in the States, we're too busy doing all this infighting as a result of intersectionality being pushed on so many Americans, namely children. This next video, by the way, I'm sorry I'm kind of late with that upload. It's going to be on Saturday, because a lot of this stuff was going on. And I found some clips from Thomas Sowell that I thought would be very important to kind of add into the videos. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good being the bill in Florida that doesn't allow the teaching of whatever sexual orientation nonsense in grades K through 3rd grade. The bad being the censorship of Confederate statues and stuff like that. It's important, but I'll get to that later. And the downright ugly being the face turn that Democrats are trying to pull on the American people when it comes to ending COVID mandates as a result of the midterms coming up. But that's what that video is focused on. And I wanted to try to put some more emphasis on the importance of what we need to do to get the country back on track. And a lot of it involves rejecting outright this whole notion of intersectionality, this multiculturalism, because all of these things are creating too many more problems that is pulling our attention away from maintaining our position as the premier superpower in the world, which is why we have so much of the influence that we have. But all of that is going up in flames because of, like I said, all these issues that we're facing. The pushing of critical race theory, this weird fetish with hating white people within our country, and it goes on. There's a lot that we need to like undo if there's going to be any hope for our country in the future, especially at this point in the next 10 years, maybe 15. I don't know. But I do think we're in a blessed position to be as influential as we are, because it ain't over till the fat lady sings. I put it like that. But let me get back to the video.
And it would have, as I said, it would never have happened. I know him very well, got along with him very well. I stopped his pipeline. I sanctioned them more than anybody ever sanctioned them. Nobody was ever tougher on Russia, but I got along with Putin very well. We respected each other. I think you have a whole different ballgame right now. This is just an exercise. He's not going to tell him anything, and I don't think Putin's at this point going to be listening. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does in terms of the depth. Will he take a small piece? When Biden originally said he's going in, everybody was like, "Did he just say that?" Nobody could believe it, but he said it, and it was almost like a card. Ukraine went crazy when he saw that, when they heard that, the president. But now the phone call, I think, is perfunctory. I don't think much is going to come out of it.
Yes, sir. Republicans have introduced a bill that would block aid to Ukraine until our southern border is secure. The thinking is, why would we be worried about a border in Europe when there is a disaster happening right here at home? Do you think that those two issues should be linked?
Well, I certainly understand how people feel. We had the strongest border we've ever had, our southern border. We were 3 weeks away from finishing the wall after going through 2.5 years of lawsuits with the Democrats and winning them all. We were 2.5, 3 weeks away from, think of it, finishing the wall, which is largely, frankly, finished anyway. It's a tremendous help. We had the best numbers in the history of our country on the southern border. Very little was coming in. Very few people were coming in other than coming in legally. We had the lowest drug numbers, the best drug numbers in the last 32 years.
I love you, man, but you kind of kiss your own ass a little too much. But I get where he's coming from, because in essence, he's talking about primarily how this wouldn't have happened under him, and this isn't. Yeah, we pretty much know where this is going. Nowhere. But like I said, I agree with him, because unfortunately, this is where we're at, and it sucks. But there's no telling what the next move is going to be. Like, we're pretty much stuck here in stasis waiting. And that, to me, is kind of like one of the worst positions to be in, because you don't really have any say in what happens next. All you can really do is take a reactionary position, which is unfortunate, because now the ball is in Putin's court, and if he wants to take this to the moon, he can. If he doesn't, then he won't. You can only hope for so much. But let's look at some of the things. I don't like using Twitter, but I guess that's all we got right now as far as like immediate information in regards to what's happening in Ukraine. But the president orders military mobilization amid Russian attack.
Précédent à l'Ukraine a été acté avec l'adoption d'un
I'm
paquet
not
d'aides
sure where he
macro-financières de
is
1,2 milliard d'euros.
to be doing this, but I guess safely. I don't know, but very unfortunate. But I'm not sure. I can't really speak on what will come after this. I don't think the sanctions are going to do much to deter Putin from his goal. I feel like he's been so hyper-focused on this that he sees an opportunity to go, and he's going. And what are you gonna do? What can you do? I'm gonna get these bots out of my chat. It's annoying. Get out of here. Could have sworn I already reported them. But, well, like I said, there's no telling. All we can really do is guesstimate and hope for the best. And of course, it's really annoying when the most you hear is like, "Oh, prayers for Ukraine, pray for them, pray." Like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna help at all, because all this is well, one of the things this is going to cause is another migrant crisis, and it kind of makes you wonder to what degree was this planned? Because, you know, a lot of people think a lot of stuff is planned. Stuff just don't happen by accident. There's a lot of stuff that goes on that many people around the world in high positions of powers are notified of far beforehand. So, like, it's not like this was like a surprise out of nowhere ordeal. It's always kind of been there. Rumors from the Ukraine front line allege Ghost of blah 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 has downed 6 Russian jets. Whatever. Is that gonna stop like the big issue here? Let's see. I want to talk briefly about the protest in Russia, because I think it's kind of important to highlight how things operate in Russia and how they're loosely related to how things have been going on in Canada recently. Go ahead and talk about that. Let's see. Let's do Russian protests, because you'll see a very interesting comparison between the two.
Stop the war! Stop Putin! Stop the war! Sanctions now! 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 Putin, stop the war!
God, he's such a bad guy. Stop him. Blah blah blah. Washington. You know, the issue I have with this, it's not just that it's happening. Is that it's one of those things that it's so hollow, because look, there was a time, and I don't know, it's just kind of interesting, you know, to what degree are some people willing to admit their fault when it comes to how this goes down? Because a lot of times I kind of view the American people's responsibility as being residents of the number one country, superpower country in the world, and our responsibility in not just voting for our own self-interest, but for that of other countries. And I know it's not the case for everybody. A lot of people look at the problems in other countries are their problems. I agree. However, when it came down to the election between the American election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, it makes you wonder to what degree of significance is it that people consider the blowback when it involved foreign relations. Like, when people voted for Biden, did they consider that? Because Trump's record kind of speaks for itself when it came to getting shit done, at least preemptively, when it came to setting up peace treaties between within the Middle East, and talking with and maintaining a good relationship with Kim Jong-un and North Korea, because, like, again, North Korea is also seeing this, and we don't know. Maybe they're gonna be like, "Hey, let's go ahead and make a grab for South Korea," because, you know, they're only right there, and it's like at some point this is gonna get to be too much, because I don't think America can afford to get involved with more wars. Like, I'm tired of the whole wars and us being involved in every little aspect of the world's problems, because the biggest issue I had with Afghanistan was the fact that we spent so much money there to prepare them to protect themselves from terrorists, only for all that shit to blow up in the face of Americans with a bill of $80 billion and then some, and for the entire capital to fall to terrorists overnight. And it kind of makes me wonder, I'm like, damn, did they even want their own country? Why are we spending so much of our resources there for defending people who don't want to be defended? Because it's very like, and of course I still blame Joe for like the exit strategy. Could have did that a million times better. I feel like Trump had it set up perfectly for him. He could have just took credit for it. I would have been fine. It would have been whatever. Just as long as we can get out of that with as little our hands being, dirty as possible. But it just didn't seem like Afghanistan cared for their own defense, their own independence from terrorist influence and invasion. Because we spent so much money that they're training the military, sending all that stuff there, and it just wound up being Saigon 2.0. And it's really annoying to see so many people kind of, look over that, as if seeing all that play out wouldn't embolden other countries to be like, hey, well, let's go for it. If they let Afghanistan fall to a bunch of crazy nut jobs trying to take over who have no country of their own, they're literally acting of their own radical beliefs. If they let them take over a whole country, what's going to stop China? What's going to stop Russia? Because these guys do want things. They want them pretty bad. And if there's going to be no pressure from Western powers to keep them from doing that, you get this. Joe Biden's so old he forgot to pull out game. What's up, Whitezilla? Welcome to the stream, man. But yeah, you're right. And pull out, what's that mean? Pull out the worst possible way. It didn't really even pull out. Yeah, he pulled out some of our guys, but it's like you left all the shit there that was like, secondary. That yeah, it's good to get our troops out. I agree. That's great. But if you're going to do that, can you do it in the least disastrous way possible? Don't leave all that shit there for them. Anyway. Major incompetence, and like I said it once, I'll say it again. If I was Vladimir seeing that shit, you best believe I would be all about like, yeah, Ukraine is mine. If Joe is gonna be like that with Afghanistan, Ukraine's in the bag, easy. Glad to be here. Appreciate it, man. Tara said thanks for the gear. Yeah, $80 billion out of our pockets, mind you. We ain't getting that shit back. And Joe doesn't care to get it back. And it's like, it's only been 1 year, dude. We've only been at this for 1 year, and we're so far down the hole. Everything Trump's built up, whether you agree with him or not, has been pissed away in the span of 12 months. And it's only going to get worse. I can only imagine. Like, I really hope the whole thing doesn't go down with China and Taiwan, because, the chip shortage is bad enough. But I feel like most people won't get involved unless they feel personally involved, whether it be in the form of, the chip shortages or gas prices. But hey, Tom K, welcome back. Yes, sir. I'm back at it again. But trying to get some level of understanding of what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, coming from a primarily ignorant standpoint. I need to do some homework on the history between Russia and Ukraine to see exactly if we can learn from that to see what is the scale of Vladimir's goal. Does he want all of Ukraine? Does he want some of Ukraine? Is he just flexing? It's too many things we don't know. The main problem is that we became the world police, or basically the mafia, and they kept relying on other foreign countries. Yeah, essentially. Current theory is that China is just biding their time and waiting this out. Yeah. Yep, I agree. More than likely. Because it's kind of hard to say right now. But based off of Russia's actions right now, it's like, hey man, it's not impossible. If anything, it's more possible now than it was before. More likely. Because, like I said, Russia and China are 2 and 3 as far as like, you know, world global superpowers with a lot of money, a lot of influence, a lot of power, a hell of a punch. I don't think this is gonna escalate to that of World War. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm not ignoring it either. Of course, I don't want that, but even if it does come to that, I feel like it would resolve relatively quickly, given how everyone has nukes, and the worst possible case scenario ends with everybody getting lit up and the world having to reset in terms as a civilized planet. But you know, at this point, it's kind of hard to say. You don't want to just be like, oh, you know, it won't happen. It's not going down like that. Like, yeah, it says you. You know, you'll know that. Let's see if we can find some more. Let's see what Tim Cast has to say. Putin appears to wear same suit and speeches, airs days apart. Inside, Let's see what Tim Cast has to say. Let's see what.
As the conflict between Ukraine and Russia began to escalate in the past few.
And before I do that, Putin's going to set up a puppet state. Russian news is spinning as fixing a coup from 2014 when they had big protests and removed the pro-Russian president. Yeah, because that was something he referenced. I wasn't sure to what degree, you know, how true that was. He was talking about shutting down anti-Russian rhetoric, and all this is going on is a reaction to that. And, like, do I buy it? Not necessarily, but I don't not buy it, because I don't know. I don't know what necessarily happened at the time. If according to what Tim K says is true, you know, not saying it's justified, but you know, that right now that's the information we got to go off of. Check out Jimmy Dore and Kim Iverson. Will do. Any chance you can link that in the chat? I can pull it up immediately. Because there's a few people I want to like check on and get their takes. And one of them is Tim Cast. Another is Sticks Hexenhammer. Just to kind of, you know, get different perspectives. Because I know a lot of these guys cover it way better than I have. I haven't reached that level yet, hopefully. Very objective coverage from both of them.
Few weeks. Many were skeptical.
Don't worry, we're not going to watch the whole video, but
that Vladimir Putin would actually invade the country. I was one of those skeptical individuals. Even though we had U.S. intelligence reports suggesting that Russia would go into Kiev, the capital, I still said that's absurd. Even only a few days ago, we said Russia going even as far west as Kharkiv, which is still rather eastern, was not going to happen. And now we know we were wrong. Russia has staged a full-scale invasion of the country. And the latest update is that Russian forces have taken the Chernobyl nuclear disaster site. In response to the invasion, I
will say that's kind of funny. Like you're going to take a area that you can't use. I don't know. Maybe it's something that I'm pretty sure there's more they can do there. But, man, it's not looking good for old Joe. Couldn't handle COVID, messed up the pullout, inflation, wasn't tough. Foreign relations, he just keeps taking L's. And that's the fun. Like, I will say there's a silver lining to a lot of this. Like, I know everything that's going on is bad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that any of this is good by any stretch. However, if there is a silver lining, it's that enough people will, at the very least, recognize that there is a issue here with the current administration and their ability to maintain anything. It's been 1 year. Remember, it's been 1 year, and we've had several different events, historical events, just toppling one after the other. They completely botched the entire COVID thing, you know, mandates and stuff not looking good. That's why so many blue states are reversing their mandate decisions just in time for the midterms. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then on top, right behind that, you have the whole complete fuck up with Afghanistan being overrun and taken over by terrorists. Not a good look there either. And Joe pretending like that's somehow a victory. Like, yeah, I ended the war. I'm like, okay. And then on top of that, now we have Russia invading Ukraine. I'm not 100% ready to pin 100% of this on Biden just yet. I'm trying to give this guy a chance, right? But like I said, I'm not ready to pin all of it on him. Majority, yes. But like I said, it just depends on the relationship between America and Ukraine. Because I still feel confident in saying that Vladimir would have never tried that shit if Trump was in office. Just saying. Just saying, bro. But let's continue.
Seeing severe sanctions on Russia from the West, from the US and the UK. And I feel, I must say, we are now facing a very real prospect for World War III. I hate to say it, that phrase is so cliche and tired, because throughout my career in journalism and
Whitezilla, I agree. There was a time maybe 2 or 3 years back where I was like, hey man, we just need to fix what we got. But since Trump was elected and seeing that entire process of how he was treated by both Democrats and Republicans, at that point I was kind of like, you know what, I gotta like burn that notion that we have to fix the system as is. Because like one of the things that I want to promote on this channel is the prospect of a third party, because I feel like these, the Democrats and Republicans have been around for too long. They've done too much damage to their reputation, and thinking that it's even likely to fix one of them to any degree is asinine. Because remember, Trump was never a Republican. He was a Democrat. So the fact that he even won because he technically ran by himself. If we're going to be honest, like I know he ran as a Republican, but he ran by himself. And seeing the amount of shit he had to put up with during his entire tenure as president just goes to show that neither side is really to our benefit as they are now. Oh, I forgot about the border crisis as well. Oh, yeah, that too. He never talked to those terrorists who burnt down our cities last year. Who are they again? Oh, yeah, BLM. That's another L. Another L for Biden. And it's like, dude, this guy is going for a record. He is like pulling all the stops, like seeing how much he can fuck up. And that's the thing that trips me out, man. It's only been a year. Sable, what's going on, man? Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you. He knew running as a Republican is exactly how he would win. Yeah, that makes sense. Because, like, even at that point, he was like, yeah, I may be a Democrat, but these guys, the Democratic Party has completely gone cuckoo. So I'm not about to run like that because, according to them, I'm no longer a Democrat. So fuck it. I'm just, run with Republican. But I will say the thing that disappointed me, one of the things that disappointed me the most about Trump's, campaign, like especially towards the end, is him not, after he lost the election, is him not going so far as to encourage the idea of a third party. Because I feel like if there was going to be one more thing this guy can do before he head out, is at least make that a high probability, at least, because I often hear a lot of reasons why people don't want there to be a third party is because you're gonna cause a schism in the voting, and then the people on the right are gonna have even less chance to win, and blah blah blah. Like, dude, I would have bought that 5 years ago, but now it's like, what? Okay, so the current game plan is what? Keep playing this ping pong ball between two people who are shit at the game? No, dude. The reason why I always emphasize Trump is because of his independent contribution. I don't give Republicans credit for the shit that Trump did, because if they wanted to do any of that shit, they should have been doing it. Because Republicans are supposed to be the party for conservatives, but they're not very good at conserving anything, are they? Especially when it comes to culturally, because in a lot of cases, Republicans don't even bother trying to get the message out across to the opposition in hopes of, waking up people who are in the left to the concepts of conservatism to bring them over to the right. And how about 5 or 6 parties? Hey, like, look, dude, like, if that's what it takes to reevaluate this country, because like the whole two-party thing, like I said, the reason why I'm not convinced it's worth maintaining anymore is because primarily, like, let's start with the Democrats. I used to be a Democrat. ignorantly, because for the longest time I kind of snapped out of it around when I was 23. It was 2013. 2012, 2013, because that's when I realized culturally in the gaming space things were getting weird. I think I told you guys about it in a stream a long time ago, but a lot of things culturally were changing that I wasn't really getting. I wasn't getting jiggy with it, because I was like, man, something's going on. Like, people are afraid to talk about certain things. Like, gaming is changing in a way that I don't like, and you're getting demonized for things that don't even make any sense. What's going on? Yeah, most of us, yeah. And so when all that happened, it snowballed into me understanding more about what it meant to be a conservative, because I knew, but I didn't know. It was just more like, oh yeah, that's the thing that exists. Conservatives, whatever they are. But the thing is, like, Trump becoming a more prominent figure in politics over time is what helped me see the importance of politics a little bit more and more, until I was finally able to, like, hey, okay, I need to go do some research into things that I don't normally would get into, so on and so forth, and the end. But the problem here, and it's one of the things I said when Biden first got into office, that I feel like yeah, sexism in gaming. Yeah, good old fucking Zoe Quinn. You remember her? But the problem I had with, well, not necessarily the problem, but the thing with Biden, I was like, I'm so convinced Biden is going to fuck this up so bad, is that, he will indirectly be responsible for turning even more people into conservatives just by his fuck ups alone. I was taught that Democrats were working man's and poor people's party. Yeah, because, and that's the thing, Democrats are so good at that communication, and that's where Republicans flake at. That's why they're not that strong at getting a message to resonate with the people. Because of course, you have people who are Republicans, like they're good. They ain't changing. And like, well, that's well and good and all, but as time goes on, more generations of people come up. And if more of these people are coming up with the belief system instilled that leftism is, that's part of the video too, because like a lot of communists have infiltrated America to the point, and they have all of the major institutions that make it damn near impossible for you to come up with any position outside of leftist best or leftism. Because like, even when I think back in school, like when I was in school, in retrospect, it's like, I kind of feel like that's where we were at. It's kind of hard to not notice that. Joe pretty much already did it, especially with the COVID stuff, and a lot of people don't want authoritarianism, especially when it came to the jab. Well, yeah, but it's one of those cases where, like, even that's not enough, man. Because, like, it shouldn't have gotten that bad in the first place. And, and you got to admit, Trump was kind of big on, he was like the premier salesman for the, COVID vaccine. Dude would not stop kissing his own ass about how he was like, yeah, man, we got the vaccine done in a year. Yeah, we're kicking ass. I'm like, all right, bro. That's great and all, but I ain't taking that shit. Even a lot of Democrats were, at the time, they were like, we're not taking that. Nope. You guys watch Trevor Ludon on Epoch TV? No, I have not. You can send him this way, or I'll look him up. Keep it that. I also need to look up Wyzilla. I'm going to look up his video first. He mentioned, where is it at? What was that guy's name? Jimmy Dore. Let's look up Jimmy Dore. See what his take is on this whole Ukraine situation. Truth about Ukraine. Watch part of it.
We're here to talk about
minutes.
the Ukraine, and I just want to start off with this. I saw this on the Twitters. It says this is a guy named.
Fuck off. I will say, like, if you didn't get the dislike thing added to YouTube, get it back, because it makes looking up videos to see if one is bullshit or not so very easy. Appreciate you saying that, because if that's exactly how I felt about Trump when he did that. Yeah, dude, because it's like, look, don't get me wrong, I like Trump, but that don't mean he didn't do some fucky shit. And to me, one of the biggest fuck ups with his entire campaign was really leaning into the vaccine. Like, more so than he should have, which allowed the Democrats to kind of coast off of that into trying to make it such a mandatory thing. But we'll get back on that.
Malinowski.
Tom Malinowski, he's a diplomat, father. So it's more important to him to be a diplomat than a father, which I think is effed up. That's really where he gets his sense of self from his job, like a real man. Anyway, diplomat, father, former Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights and Labor. He's a congressman, and he represents New Jersey's 7th District, which is where Kurt is right now at Uncle Vinny's. So he'll be at Uncle Vinny's all weekend. Anyway, so Tom Malinowski's tweeted this out. He said, I'm just returning from the Munich Security Conference where national security leaders from the U.S. and Europe gathered to confront the Ukraine crisis. Some good news. I've honestly never seen more unity among our...
You know, see, like, there are certain things, like, when I hear them, I get upset. And it's really annoying because I hate it when people say things like, oh, unity. Like, that's not good news, bro. Because, anyway, let me just stop.
Our allies or two parties in Congress on any global issue. Okay, that's actually bad news. That turns out it's bad. When the Democrats are, as George Carlin pointed out many years ago, when the Democrats and Republicans agree on something, that means there's an extra good screwing coming your way. And so this is not good. I just want to remind people what started all this stuff that's happening in right now, the most recent history. There's longer history, but this is so when Germany got back together, reunified.
The vax, the wall, Twitter rants, the only things I didn't like about the Trump presidency. Yeah, you know, like, I just feel like the vaccine is like one of the biggest, like, you know, there's too much icing on the cake. I know these things are like peanuts in comparison to Joe Biden, but I still think it's something you got to, like, you know, highlight because, you know, Trump wasn't completely clean. And I really feel like, you know, as much as I think the pandemic is straight bullshit, the way he pushed the vaccine did us no favors, especially when it came to the Democrats coming in off of a fresh victory in the election. I like the wall. Nothing else brought attention to the issue. Yeah, I mean, I like the wall, but I feel like he just kind of over-promised on certain aspects of it because, like, I wasn't expecting it to be complete in 4 years, but some of that stuff he did kind of sit on when it came to time for re-election. You know, I feel like, you know, and of course, not all of it was his fault. Like I said, some of the Republicans were, you know, fighting him on the wall because, oh, that's racist. You know, I feel like it kind of makes you, not makes you, but think about it like this. Trump was a good president overall. Fantastic. But even as extreme as you could have said he wasn't far enough when it comes to grabbing back the power that we require to fix America overall, because the damage to America is extensive. It's very extensive. And you're going to need somebody who has the temperament of Trump at Trump's level, but for them it's a native like 4. You need someone to take it up to like 11. Every leader makes mistakes. Trump still did so much in 4 years. Like I said, I'm not dunking on him to where like I'm not grateful. I'm very grateful for him. And as far as I'm concerned, he is the benchmark for anyone who wants my vote moving forward. Because like I said earlier, Ron DeSantis is cool, but I don't get he's a politician. Like, that's what bugs me. And I don't like that. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like it's somebody in Trump's position, I would be more convinced. He's a showman. He says build a wall, forces the news to talk about it, even if the wall isn't brick and mortar. He didn't tread on constitutional rights. Yeah, like I said, he's great overall. Don't get me wrong. I ain't dissing my boy Trump. But when it comes to like a leader to, succeed him, it's gonna have to be someone who, like I said, he takes Trump's energy and cranks it up to the next level, to the point to where it's non-negotiable. Because like I said, the damage to America is extensive. It's not good. and we're gonna need more than like, a second term of Trump would be nice, but that was one of the first things I was thinking about. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Like Trump's kicking ass right now, but what happens after Trump? Because we're gonna need, he's only good for like 1-2 terms, especially now. Because I'm like, he's getting kind of old, and I don't know how well. Like, I have faith that he'll be good for another potential run, but his age is very concerning. We need someone who's younger, stronger in the sense of that. Yeah, you're gonna be able to follow through long term. Trump did so wild stuff. Really appreciate him for putting more money in my pocket, especially in 2019. That year was great. Yep, like DeSantis for 24. Yeah, like I said, I don't hate DeSantis. It's just like I'm just kind of bothered that he's a politician, and Trump wasn't a politician, and so Trump kind of he inadvertently set the bar too high because for someone who's not a politician to get into the game and do as much as he did in 4 years, whereas other politicians have been in the game for their whole lives, damn near, and haven't even come close. That's the only thing that kind of bugs me about DeSantis. Like I said, no smoke to DeSantis overall because I don't know enough about him to hate him. He seems like every conservative's premier pick, on the surface. What's the chance of getting us another non-career politician? Yeah, see, and that's the debacle we find ourselves in. Because while I think it's good, one of the biggest victories we got with the Trump administration was that it activated a lot of people, regardless of political leaning. Especially in the moderate crowd, because a lot of people they're now more exposed to what's going on because of Trump. He's a showman. He's an influencer. He has a lot of pull when he talks. People listen, even if they hate him, which is all the irony. But that's where I think it has to be someone like Trump. DeSantis is cool, but sometimes he seems like he's trying too hard to come off as a Trump clone, and that's not good. I don't know many other billionaires who will make a run, fund their own campaign, and be worthy of my vote. Yeah, it's slim pickings. Like, if it comes down to it, if that's who we got, that's who we got. But that's where I think the importance of a third party would have really helped us out. Like, I really think that if Trump had put the focus on building up a third party, he could have been the spearhead to really get a lot of those people in one spot to make it clear just how serious he was, and to kind of put the Republicans in their place for giving him such a hard time during his tenure as president. I really think that would have been the best move, because we would have either seen a lot of new faces, a lot of faces from either party who felt displaced with what their party has become, and the fact that they were willing to cut ties with that party to put it into a new party would have, at the very least, even if they were a politician, it would have at the very least gave me some solace in understanding, like, okay, if they're serious enough to do that in the current era of cancel culture, then there might be something about them. I have to give them really give them a chance. But it annoys me so much that didn't happen. I really wish it did, because if there was any chance to, like, even if the party was a dud, I would have still taken that chance, because at the very least you would have been like, look, man, Republicans, you guys gave Trump a hard time. Yeah, you kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Democrats, you guys have been lost for a long time now. I don't even want to look in y'all direction. But if you had like a new party of people from both parties, and new people alike, to come up and show that they have the drive and desire to heal and fix the country in a way that Republicans and Democrats are just seemingly unwilling to do, that would be how to do it. Because it's not uncommon for us to have more than two parties. There were other parties, And I know there are other parties now, but they didn't have as much influence. Because I know back in the day, the Whig Party was a thing. I need to look into that, see what they were about. But it wasn't always just Republicans and Democrats. And even though we call it a two-party system, yeah, we only call it that because it's only been one of two parties in power. It's always been like a tug of war between the two. But it seems like voting for one or the other, before Trump, it seemed like more of a, the illusion of choice. Like, both of these guys suck. You're just going to get, more red media circulations with this guy. And with the other guy, you get more blue media circulations. It's like, yeah. I honestly think that the deep state and globalists let Trump win 2016 so that they could do whatever they were going to do now. True. I get what you mean. Basically, all the common sense and reasonable people from both sides get together. Yeah. And I'm still about that. I still think that's something that, at the very least, like, if America's going to go down in a ball of fire, can we at least try that first? At least we can, get away with saying, hey, it was worth a shot. If it's going to be like that, then we're going to go about it like this. Because Thomas Sowell, he mentioned it, I forgot which book, but he mentioned that what the founding fathers built, they understood that America was a experiment. It wasn't like a surefire test of building the strongest nation in the world, and it stayed the strongest nation in the world. Hold on. We got another bot in the chat. I'm tired of these bots, man. They're getting on my nerves. Get out of here. Yeah, get out of here, kid. You're bothering me. But yeah, he's like, the founding fathers understood that what they were going to do had never been done before, at least successfully. And it's something that you have to have faith in doing, and you build the foundation up strong so that it's something that could last, potentially forever. I think one of the biggest weaknesses that America had was the concept of democracy. Because when the way that got shut down so efficiently is through manipulation, especially media manipulation. Like, let's say if you want to undermine a very strong country that operates on something like democracy, like, oh, easy. Just get the majority of the country to believe in this, and you're all good. What's his name? The Yuri Bezmenov. Yeah, remember him? Active measures. You get in, you influence certain aspects that have the country running smoothly, and then you get what you get now. A lot of infighting, intersectionality. Everybody wants to be unique, and while being not unique. Yeah, constitutional republic. That's what we're supposed to be. And I know that's what we technically are, but a lot of how we've been operating, at least for the past 30 years, I say past 30 because I can't speak for, before my lifetime. I'm just kind of reflecting on what I've seen. Things have been, mostly democratic, voting for our presidents and all that stuff. And if all you have to do is get enough influence in the information to subjugate the majority population into believing and thinking a certain way, again, Yuri Bezmenov, active measures, then you can dismantle the country from the inside. You don't even have to be there for it to happen, because like I said, Yuri was a defective Russian. So he was like, yeah, man, that's how things got, fucky for Russia, and that's how they fell apart. And who's to say that wouldn't happen with America? The main problem I see is big government. Yeah. Convince enough people that you need big government. And what have the Democrats been doing for the past 100 years? Pushing people to be relying on government. Another video I want to focus on is like really looking into the significance of the civil rights era. Because, again, you notice the civil rights era is one of the few things that most of us, myself included at the time, were conditioned to believe is infallible. Like, there's nothing... You can't touch that because that was such a win for America. But my question is, I'm not, trying to say we didn't need it. This is just me, theorizing. I'm just kind of thinking because you notice, like lately, with how so many movements come up and get infiltrated and turned into something else. Feminism, for example, used to be about women's rights, but now it's all about the rights of the alphabet crew. And same thing with civil rights, and for black people. Yeah, BLM it started out as about black people. It was already bullshit. It started out with black people, but now it involves the alphabet community and this and that and all this other shit. Democracy is three wolves and a sheep voting on what to have for dinner. A republic allows the sheep to contest the vote. Yep. Government is way, way, way too big. Yeah, exactly. But like I said, with the thing with civil rights, like I think an important thing that a lot of people should be able to do when it comes to really understanding the value that they have in their country is to question these things. What if, I'm not saying this is true, not until I look more into it, it's going to be its own video, but what if the civil rights movement was co-opted, just like any movement we've seen in the past 5 years? What if the Democrats' push for it is what kind of springboarded a lot of the issues we have with things going on today? The black lesbian Marxists. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's uncommon to think that. But yeah, and those are things I don't want to understand and look into and see, because if you bring this up to most people, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy. How dare you question the civil rights? Don't you realize how significant and important and blah 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 blah? It's like, yeah, dude, I get it. However, if you want to kind of understand what the potential errors that could have come with that, we need to be able to talk about it. Because I know folks be looking at me like, but Josh, you're black, you should be thankful and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I am. But what if that was being used to our detriment in order to push something else? Because if we can nail that down, learning about our history that a lot of people on the left for some reason want to be censored and whatever, just saying. I think it's important to talk about. That's why my last video was about canceling Black History Month, because it's largely useless. It does very little to teach many about black history, because all throughout when I was in school, the most you would hear about is black history within the era of civil rights and nothing else. You hardly ever learned about black figures before the civil rights. Throughout the birth of America, because it almost seems like they say like, hey, that's insignificant. You don't need to learn about anything outside of what happened in the 60s. And it just kind of makes you wonder. I'm like, hey, why are you so adamant about me learning about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X, and no one else? Like, yeah, I know there's a few outside of that, like Harriet Tubman and so on and so forth. But the big majority of Black History Month, you cannot lie, is civil rights shit. It's always been. That's the kind of four founding members of BLM are, Marxists. The quote about black people will vote after the bill passes comes to mind. Yeah, that's like, I have these blank blanks voting Democrat for the next 60, 70 years. Replace the follower government. Yeah. And it worked. Lyndon Johnson. I'm like, yeah, and it's like, you can go back and listen to him and be like, what an asshole. And I'm like, yeah, but he was right. He was right. It's almost like he knew exactly what he wanted to do. And, it involved civil rights. And I'm like, it worked. Black families destroyed. Father, what's that? Government, Big Daddy government will take care of you. And it's still prevalent to this day. Thomas Sowell, a big portion of his entire career was combating the necessity of not big government. Well, yeah, big government, but welfare. And a lot of people today will just be looking at that. A lot of black folks will be like, I don't know what this nigga talking about. A lot of folks don't even know who Thomas Sowell is. Kind of ironic how that's, a very important figure you think would be talked about highly during Black History Month, but isn't. Very strange. Probably because we were too busy learning about Martin Luther King, again, for the 80th time. Like, he was a saint. He did no wrong. He was there. The civil rights were good, and you're not allowed to say otherwise. You know, that's the reason why I'm just like I'm kind of becoming adamant about questioning the integrity of the civil rights era. Because I remember it was a long time ago. I had one of my coworkers at this job I worked at, where I was kind of already like within the scope of, you know, being out of left field, but it was still kind of there. Because he had mentioned, like, he was like, yo, man, look, let's just say I'm not in favor of civil rights. And when he said that, I was like, what you mean? What do you? Whoa. I was in instant defense mode, but when I recognized I did that, I was like, why do you say that? Because I was curious. I was like, what do you mean? Like, how can you not be? I was sounding a lot like how people on the left sound when you say you're a Republican or a conservative. And when I noticed that, I was like, hold on, man. There's something here. Because whenever someone's conditioned to respond a certain way, that means they aren't thinking. They're not willing to think. So when he was explaining to me, like, he was like, yeah, dude, I think it was like Pandora's box. You know, you fucked up. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any kind of, you know, regulations on, you know, the treatment of different races. I'm all about that being a good thing. I am. But how it was done is what concerns me the most. And I was like, you got a point there. So, let's see. Renee Sanders over on Indigenous Education has a good video on the history of Black History Month. Highly recommend it. Okay. I used to be shameful to take a handout. Now you are lauded at for being smart enough to scam the system. Brings back public shaming of welfare. Let's bring back public. Yeah. You shouldn't want to be on welfare. It's like, why? Oh, let me type that in. I know we're kind of hopping around the videos, but I'm going to make sure I bookmark them in my history so that, you know, I can watch them and actually speak on them after, you know, seeing them. What do you say, Renee Sanders? Renee Sanders. She says she has a video on Black history. Slave trade, game night, presentation. Let's go to her channel. Says she got 4 videos. It's got to be one of them. Oh, that might not be the same one. Might not be here early. You might have to help me out here. Not finding it. Maybe I should type in Renee Sanders Black History. A couple of history, Black History Month. Yo, it's your stream, bro. I'll hop around. I will. Yeah, appreciate it. But I agree, man. Like, and it's not just you know, shaming welfare, but just shame in general, because a big problem with our entire society is that we've made shaming bad. You know, you can't type in indigenous education. Indigenous education. God damn. Your man can't spell. Education. Oh, that's the channel. Second one down. Hold on. Boom, boom. This one. The Mound Builders. Make sure if that's the one. Is that the one you're talking about? The Mound Builders, or the Dark Skin Past? Bingo. Okay.
Greetings, I'm your host Red Tail. Welcome to an introduction to the Mound Builders, the first in a 4-part series entitled An American Deception. We'll see you in a...
Oh, not that one, the other one? I mean this one, Indigenous Education Presents America's Dark Skin Past, 1619 short? I won't be clicking on the wrong video now. Yeah, which one is it? Land-based education. Is it a TED Talk? Yeah, drop a link. Because, I'm not seeing it. I thought you said second one down from like up here. If you're able to. Type in the history of Black History Month. Copy pasta. All right. Yeah, let me know which one is the right one. Talking about the History Canada? Or by Good Morning America a year ago. Was it Stanford? Who came up with Black History Month? You have the first time. Yeah, you got to say which one, man. There's a bit of a delay between your comment and what what you say. Matter of fact, let me fix that. Let me shrink that down. Yeah, I got to go into the thing and change that. That's not good. It's on indigenous education. Hold on, let me backtrack. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is that this one the I'm just opening another tab for the whole videos. Oh, that would have worked. Okay, guy, I think I found it. Type 1 in the chat. Or F in the chat. I think I found it, guys.
It's the same hustle, it's the same pain, the same
Turn that down just a little bit.
Maybe one day we'll see we're one big family, like it's one ghetto. The same sunshine, the same rain, the same struggle, just to maintain.
Like I said, we might not be able to cover the whole video. 37 minutes of it. I'll definitely watch it.
We would like to thank our sponsors. The Juice Box, located on North 58th Street in West Philadelphia, serving organic drinks and more. ESPN Hair Zone, quality professional hairstylist for over 20 years for the West Philadelphia community. Sacred Healing Massages, providing mobile services in the metro.
Ads. For the military minded out there, this channel does a decent and thorough apolitical breakdown of the fight as it's happening in Ukraine. Good toilet watching. You talking about this channel right here?
DC and North Virginia areas.
Greetings and welcome to Revealing America's Dark Skin Past. I'm your co-host, Red Tail Hawk, also known as Tabitha Sanders. I'd like to welcome our co-host, Red Silver Fox, also known as Renee Sanders.
Greetings, everyone.
My beautiful mother also.
She's actual educator in Philly.
Today, we are going to be talking about Black History Month. The history of Black History.
Digging that fro, bro.
We'd like to thank everybody for coming back and checking us out again. We know it's been a while.
Quite some time.
And there's a lot going on. 2020 vision is real.
We
see things that was hidden before, right? And as a part of that, it's also time for us as a populace to be more self-responsible, more self-aware, and really start to hold ourselves accountable for educating ourselves, critically.
Hold on 1 second. Ooh, shit. How did that happen? Man.
Analyzing our history and then organizing in a way so that the future generations will have a better opportunity to, be culturally accountable for themselves.
Yes, and knowing history is is the most important part of knowing the culture and knowing your culture.
Knowing our story.
Yes. Yes.
In a proper context too, which is what we hope indigenous education offers you. So thanks for coming and checking us out. With that being said, we're talking about the history of Black History Month. And there's so much to be said, and I'm always looking at us from a so-called conscious perspective, or aware, woke, whatever the case may be. And with that said, in our community, there's a lot of complaints about Black History Month. And there's also a lot of myths that float around in our communities about Black History Month. Why it's the shortest month, why they give us the month with the shortest days, why they give us the coldest month, why they, and so let's talk about that and really dig into the history of Black History Month, why this month should be important to us, and why it's very, very, very important for us to begin to correct that narrative. And so I got my moms with me. She gonna drop it unlike anybody else. We ain't gonna get that buffoonery over here. We getting the facts. So let's talk about some facts. What we got going on today?
Okay. Well, 1926.
Okay.
Is when Dr. Carter G. Woodson initiated, or he began, Negro History Week. He began this because he felt that the youth in the United States, and not only in the United States, but just youth in general and people in general, did not have the knowledge, especially Black youth, about Black history, about Black accomplishments, and the accomplishments of our ancestors. So that was something that he thought was very important. He chose the second week in February because it was already being celebrated in Black communities, where they were celebrating Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Okay. However, this was not the beginning of Black History Week, nor was it the beginning of an awareness, or people putting forth an awareness of Black history within the United States.
Wow, okay. So just with those few statements, you've already knocked down one myth, which is...
Joshua, check it out and do a reaction video. That would be dope.
February was chosen by us.
It's not a bad idea.
Very specific reasons that we can get into in a little
Make
bit
sure it goes to
later.
my...
However, so the month of...
I liked. So I can find it again. And save it. But, okay, I'll do that. Give it a watch and give it its own proper video, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff about Black history I didn't know about. Just like most people grew up learning about it. It's like, hey, this is the thing. Well, all right, I guess we're just every February we do this. But yeah, like I said, overall, that's kind of a lot of the main issues I take when it comes to how America's running things now. And I think a third party is paramount when it comes to the future of our country, because like I said, things seem to be getting pretty dire. I know and I don't want to dismiss it, because I can't really prove it or disprove it, about how all this seems to be planned and it's all in motion because so on and so on. Which is very possible. I don't think it's foolish to assume that's not the case. But regardless, the stuff that's happening now is pretty substantial on the world stage. And on the surface right now, it seems like a case of, Joe Biden, another gaffe by Joe. And to what degree Trump's role played in it, if he was involved, it's hard to say. It could be very possible that he was a part of the whole thing. But the thing I think is important is how we react as civilians in all this, because as much as it sucks, we're involved. We are part of this too, whether we want to be or not. But I think one thing that can be helpful for everyone in all this, regardless of, you know, people's positions or beliefs or political leanings, is that we all should be more aware of the things that are happening in these major countries. Because if, you know, if America is supposed to be about pro-freedom and we're going to be an example, a shining example, then the people have to show that. And it's not just in the hands of politicians who just so happen to be in their positions of power to push that example. It's really up to the people. The people behind each country are the true driving force of that country's influence and direction. And unfortunately for us, we're in a position where it's, you know, either or. I don't know what your schedule is, but man, I think you could do some real good reaction videos. You tend to have a very good analysis of social political matters. Yeah, dude, like I'm trying to stay on a consistent schedule because like I want to grow my gaming channel, but I also want to get more involved with you know, political discourse. The main problem is like I'm trying to, you know, picking the right battles to choose, because I have a lot of opinions on a lot of this stuff, and it's kind of, you know, pushing me into a wall. It's like, man, I got so many things I want to do, I want to talk about, but I don't know if it's ready yet. Because like the video, I'm adopting a video format that I have on my gaming channel called The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I think it'll be more useful on the political channel because stuff happens so quickly, and that's another thing. Things happen so fast that you don't want to feel like you're late to the punch and that you can't cover it. But you know, that's more of a me thing. Me thinking that like, oh well, you know, I guess it's too late. It's old news, even though it happened 10 minutes ago. But I'm working on that. I do have a separate Discord. And I'm gonna see if let me go ahead and see if I can put a link to it, because that's if you guys are familiar with Discord or care to get involved with Discord, because my gaming Discord is relatively successful in terms of, you know, keeping people on my case about content, and it's very developed. But my my political Discord is very underdeveloped, and it may be because, you know, I may need to put some more effort into it to kind of get it, you know, staying on track. So I'm going to share a link to that Discord, because in the Discord you can, you can reach me directly and you know, talk to me about, you know, getting things done. I got the link right here. Copy, because I don't have it set up to automatically show on the ticker like in my my gaming channel, but I may need to do that. But this is the political Discord. It's called the AfrOMEGA base. And where a lot of the stuff that I want to happen there, just like in my gaming Discord, will be for people who join to be more direct in getting me on top of things, instead of happen to catch me randomly streaming at some point to say what I think I should cover. But let me go ahead and write that down. React to... Because if there's one thing I'm pretty shitty about right now when it comes to this channel, is organization. And here goes some more of these damn bots in the chat. So annoying. Thank you. Alright, what's the name of this video? The History of Black History Month. History of Black History Month. Reaction video. My Good, Bad, and the Ugly is almost done. I need to finish recording, so get that out. I want to get that out by Saturday. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this stream up for now, and that's gonna be the main things I focus on, because I don't mind reaction videos, and I think it'll be important to at least to have those going to keep the channel, you know, active. So there's no long points of no uploads. Like, I don't want it to be like a week without an upload. I think the video viewers I saw, Thoughts on White Privilege, I subscribed to you right then and there. Yeah, because like I know I can make some good videos, but man, yeah, that's my kryptonite, consistency. But, you know, if I got you guys there to, like, you know, stay on my case about it, you know, burn me up when I start slacking, that would be very helpful. But yeah. too much is going on, and I can't sit here and have these conversations in my own head about it forever, because it's getting crazy out here, and we gotta at least do something. You gotta do something. But like I said, the next few videos, the next one that I want to try to have up is on Saturday. You know, I was pretty busy, and I didn't get a lot of it recorded that I wanted. But it's going to be a good, the bad, and the ugly for my political channel, talking about a lot of the things that have gone wrong with the Biden administration, a lot of things that have gone well with the new bill being passed in Florida in regards to education, which is very important, and also the censorship of Confederate statues and stuff. I think that also kind of falls under education, because whether people want to believe it or not, it is important to have those things still be visible for everyone to see, to learn about it. Because the biggest error in history is being doomed to repeat it should you not learn from it. So the censoring of Confederate statues, like that whole ordeal, to me, I think is stupid. You shouldn't want to, you shouldn't use the excuse of that it's scary or bad to justify hiding it. You don't hide a country's shortcomings or anything. Hopefully you can have another content creators and guests on your channel. Yeah, I'm getting there. I have this over here for later. It's not quite developed yet, but I want to get a second webcam, so I can get into the swing of not just debates but discussions, because I need to sharpen up my debate skills over time. I talk a lot with my friends, but I'm familiar with them, so I need to learn how to talk to people who have a different opinion from mine, and make sure that we can have a legitimate discussion. And if it leads to a debate, even better. I want to be prepared for that. People can't handle the truth these days. Yeah, but the only way to do anything about it is by talking, or at least extending, making it possible, putting the idea out there. Because one of the many multitude of issues that we have is that people are afraid to speak up, and when too many people are afraid to speak up, and you just let the current power slide without it being checked, whether it's worth it or not, it only gets worse. But like I said, so Saturday, looking for an upload probably in the early afternoon, or at the very latest, very late evening, because I got to work that day. And I want to be finished with it before then. But I want to make it a good video, because like I said, I found some Thomas Sowell videos that I think are important to kind of add to the overall message of the video, that I think is very important. Because a big portion of it is going to be about education, the importance of education. Talking with disingenuous people is a waste of time. Yes, it is. But, at the very least, I can make some content out of it. Suggestions: start with a series on Biden losses. Do in-depth dive on each situation. Example, Afghanistan pullout. Cover why from both sides of the divide, both at the time and after the dust settles. Don't mind if I do. Let's see. Biden track record. Because that's another thing. Like, making sure you kind of hold these people in positions of power accountable for their screw-ups. Because I do have several clips of the whole gaffe when it came to the vaccine, when Trump was the cheerleader for it. Because remember, a lot of the people on the left, Democrats, like to make it seem that they were never for something at first. Because when Trump was first touting the vaccine, a lot of Democratic leaders were like, "We're not taking that thing. You can't make us. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada." And then just as soon as once we got Trump out and Biden in, they wanted all the praise and credit for delivering something to stop this pandemic, and it didn't do anything, of course, obviously. But like putting something like that on blast is important. But speaking of Biden losses, did you hear about the voice actor Amanda Wynn had to say about Ukraine? Who is Amanda Wynn? I don't even, like, what is she voice acting? Always accuse your opponent of what you're guilty of. It would help to come back after the news cycles move on. These stories get corrected quietly. Yeah, but that's what, that's something that I have to, like, focus on. Because, it's kind of, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of intimidating to try to cover so much so quickly. Because the reason why I want to take my time is so that I have a understanding of something and that I'm able to differentiate fact from opinion. Because I don't want to get up here and be first and saying a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. When it comes to this scenario, I think this is kind of a significant enough issue to where, you can kind of speak on it because it's happening live, the whole thing with Russia, and kind of just be like, well, look, there's a lot of stuff going on we don't know. I've said it several times in this stream. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. But I don't want to, turn into one of those content creators who's so focused on getting the views and hot off the press stuff first when I don't know shit. That's something I'm trying not to. She voiced Rey in the original Evangelion dub and Loose Girl in Persona 4. I think it means Wendy Lee. She's an anime voice actor. Oh, okay. Yeah. You mean Rise? But yeah, I shouldn't allow that to kind of deter me from doing it anyway, because this is just me. This channel is just me. Occasionally Chris will come in and he'll commentate with me, but as far as like the videos and stuff, unless I ask him for help or to be involved with it, it's mainly just me. And I get a bad habit of taking on too much at once and then kind of losing interest after a while when it seems like it's kind of died down. She said that the war in Ukraine was a good thing because it means the Orange Man won't be re-elected. Of course she said. Exactly. Visit the story 6 months after or so when the truth comes out. Yeah, we got to put a magnifying glass on it. Ukraine cut off the water to Crimea. Yeah, and that's something else that one of my coworkers mentioned. He was like, these sanctions and stuff are really going to hurt Russia in the long run, to where this whole show of force may be more of a I'm not sure, I forgot what he said. He didn't say like a false flag, but even though it could be that, but it's not as extreme. Like, it's unlikely to turn into a world war thing, which of course, I don't want to get lean too far into wishful thinking. Because like I said, we don't know, man. It's just kind of just happening right now. And we won't be able to say much until the dust has settled after everything that's going on. Well, they invaded first. Like, yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, we don't know what's going on. Like, you can say all this stuff, but until it's over, this is where we at. NATO has kind of put Russia in the corner. Like, yeah, the situation is very complicated. You can't trust the media. Exactly. Because, like I said, like it's not a good position to be in. I don't like having to wait until X, Y, Z happens, but it's kind of all we got. So, we'll just have to wait and see, and hope for the best. Hopefully it's not beginning of the end. I don't think it is. I really don't. However, you gotta be cautious. There's optimism and there's cautious optimism. I don't want to be pessimistic about it. I feel a majority in the camp of this isn't going to lead to anything higher than probably China trying to flex on Taiwan. I think, like I said, America's a little more invested in Taiwan than we are in Ukraine. So I can kind of imagine something going there, assuming Biden doesn't just straight up fuck that up too. There's a lot of things there. If you move into my house with my permission, I'm not paying your utility bills. Posted in the Discord. Yeah, and also, like I said, I also posted a link to the other Discord. I got to build it up some more. Oh, look at that. It's another bot. Excuse me, sir. Can you please die? Yeah. Unwanted. Yeah, get out of here. Get off, scared you bother me. But yeah, because so it's a lot going on. But yeah, I kind of have to just I have to find a steady orbit of like how I want to do content. Because like I said, I don't want to do like immediate reaction and that just be it. I want to have thought out videos like, you know, like the ones I currently make. But those take a while, and I often change a lot of what I write during the recording process, you know, leading up to publishing it, because, you know, I wanted to reflect my purest thoughts in that moment. So I just like, once I kind of get that centered to where it's not so much a problem, because I have the same problem on the gaming channel. And on top of that, the purpose of the gaming channel is to kind of pull back the influence in the more of a cultural sense, because gaming is very culturally present, and politics is downstream from culture. And as we've seen, a lot of that stuff influences each other. And unfortunately, guess who has a vice on gaming? The left. So there's a lot of things between these two channels that I want to work together. And once I find that steady, you know, I find a way to marry them properly, that's when I think my presence will take off. You know, I've kind of have it theorized in my head, but the execution is where I'm kind of having trouble. What else are they gonna get? Sweet board seats at power companies. Yeah. Lots of glowing alphabet agencies operate out of Ukraine. Yeah, dude, this is insane in the brain. Let me check that, by the way. Gaseous clay. So you put that in the chat. Check this out. She got roasted to hell in the comments. Don't mind if I do. Matter of fact, yeah, let's look at it here. I got about 20 more minutes. Let's see. Uh-oh. I lost my chat. Hold on. Tulsi Gabbard did a short. Did you know the video about this Ukraine situation? Yeah, see, Tulsi Gabbard is another person I'm just like, you know, you look like somebody that wants to be liked, but there are certain belief systems that you hold that make it hard for me to just be like, oh, yeah, I like you. Like, oh, this is archived. Oh, yeah. Hold on, let me bring it over here. Let's look and laugh. Insane in the membrane. You know, left kings and queens of bad takes. Not surprised, given how they operate, but let's see. In one way, Putin did us a favor. Historically, every president running for re-election during this war has won. Wow. What's that? Amanda Winley? If Trump gets back in office, we'll have the casualties from the war and the genocide of the alphabet people. I'm not blanking kidding. Here we go. Yeah, I know she's a politician. She's still fine though. I mean, you're right, man. Like Tulsi, she can get it, bro. But my father and son both had cancer at the same time. Desperately clung to any bit of silver lining to get through this. How? That's one of these folks with these memes, man. Oh, they are so good. They are so good. Remember when Hunter Biden got $80K a year to sit in Ukraine Power Company board? Bedford Farm rumors. Yeah, there's that too. It's like, you know, I'm not saying Ukraine is 100% clean in all this. You know, it's just too much shit going on to just kind of call it one way or the other. That's why we have to wait. Tulsi has some very questionable associations outside the Dems. But, all right, keep it PG. And I'll try not to, I'm trying to, man, but a lot of this stuff is like, man, but, you know, yeah. But it's unfortunate. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, add that to me. I mean, I like to see more effort on the part of the party for re-election, but I guess it's or theme people dying, but thank God Biden's are here for it. You know, and I'm pretty sure if you go to her actual Twitter, it's gone. Can you even? Is that even possible? Oh, okay. It's still here. Or maybe she deleted those tweets. Yeah, see, it's really hard for me to stay on Twitter for anything because Twitter is so freaking toxic, dude. It's like all of the worst people have congregated into one website, and it's just the worst. And it's like, ugh, geez, get out of here. It was fun when Trump was there, but now that he's gone, it's like, I don't really care. It's just an echo chamber full of a bunch of people like this. You know, anyway. But, alright, let me go over the things I'm going to try to get done within this and next week. Saturday, try to get this good and bad and the ugly video out there. I've got to do a reaction on the history of Black History Month and reaction. And talk about that. Good. And, I guess, since enough time has passed, like you said, we'll kind of cover the Afghanistan flop under Biden. And look at that and see if it'll, kind of give us any direction as to how things are going to go with Ukraine. And possibly after that, Taiwan. Because, I'm almost convinced that's next. Don't do Twitter, Snapchat on Facebook. See, yeah, you're good. You're good. Because, it took me a while, but I've kind of got adjusted to not having them on my phone. But, when you're trying to do a channel, you kind of have to be plugged in. And I'm like, I gotta find a nice, healthy medium. Because, that was kind of the reason why I initially stopped for a year. Because I was like, dude, this is too much. And I'm not trying to turn into a supervillain if I want to talk about stuff. I'm going to have this channel. I'm going to be slowly transforming it to something insidious. I'm going to be just like these folks, and I don't want that. It's because the Tumblr freaks left after they banned porn and migrated to Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, pretty much. I remember that. Ugh, it was gross. It was sad. But, they had to go somewhere, right? You can look at Twitter, so I don't have to. Yeah, man, it's going to get to a point where I'm like, hey, guys, I'm going to need your support. I am mentally damaged, rolling around on Twitter. It's bad for my health. Please send me some shekels. But, yeah, I'm going to try to find a happy medium. Because there's a lot to talk about here. Now, but I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for today, guys. I think it was a good stream covering the main stuff that's going on, being Ukraine and the membrane. But the next stream, I'm gonna try to do at least starting out for now. I'm gonna try to do one stream. Start out with one stream a week for the political channel, because I'll be streaming more on the gaming channel and the gaming front. I'll still talk politics over there. Since it's streaming, I'm not really too well. Hold on, I don't know if I should, because I got the two separate channels. I'll think about it. Because on the gaming channel, I kind of want to stay more towards, gaming. Because that's a whole different war we got to fight in that front. And, keeping the channel separate may kind of help keep things easier to manage. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I might lean more to doing, I'll have more streams over time over here to kind of keep things locked into politics on this channel. And at the gaming channel, I'll try to focus more on things in the gaming, because like I said, gaming and culture are like this, and if we want to have any chance of taking things back on that end, we're gonna have to focus on aspects such as building a separate industry from the current one, because the current industry is trash because it's run by a bunch of leftists, and that's no good. But folks, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today's stream. Thank you for stopping by and watching. I sure do greatly appreciate it. Boop. And the next stream, I'm going to try to have next week, like I said, one stream a week until I can find out a good schedule that won't have you guys having to pop in randomly to catch me. And keeping the uploads consistent. I think reaction videos are a good way to kind of do that easily to go with the longer form videos. Glad you're back, man. Need more content like yours from your perspective. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad to be back, but I gotta actually be back. I'm back, but you need to make sure you shoot a message my way like, hey man, it's been 2 days, where you at? So, but yeah, man, glad to be back. But folks, thank you for stopping by today's stream. You are watching Immortal AfrOMEGA, where we will make America great again. Till next time, guys, see you later.